Let's have a couple of young players about whom they're very excited. This is one of them. Mark Vientos, another. And a strike, catches an outside corner. Good slider, 1-2. Mets lead the season series 3-2 over the Cardinals. And so if you think about teams being tied at the end of the season and fighting for wild card position or elimination, the head-to-head record is the first tiebreaker. The second one is your record within your own division. Right now, the Mets have a better record within the East than the Cardinals do against the Central.
Yeah, right now the Mets are 20-16 against the East. The Cardinals are 17-19 against the NL Central, but a big game. I mean, you know how tight these wild card things are. You want everything to be going in your favor as much as you possibly can.
A 2-2. Ooh, just missed. Palante wanted that. And Alvarez now a deep count.
We'll take a look at this again. Your Chevy pitch track. Nice job behind the plate right here by Pedro Pajes, making that look as good as it possibly could be.
Harrison Bader waiting on deck as Palante unfurls a 3-2 pitch. It's chopped to third, and Nolan's got that. A wild pitch gives New York a gift run in the second inning. Pete Alonso scores it. It's New York 1, Cardinals coming up for the second.
Being a kid in St. Louis is heaven because there's so much to do. Six Flags, the Magic House, all the museums, the zoo. You gotta go to the City Museum. It's a paradise for kids. This is St. Louis at its best.
Watch this. Witness what happens to this woman's bags under her eyes in an actual time lapse in just minutes. The problem will disappear before your eyes with a revolutionary topical formulation that works in just minutes, and the effects will last for hours. Over 1 million people are using this topical technique to visually reduce puffiness and bags, even fine lines and wrinkles on the face and forehead. Introducing Plexiderm. Jump on board and say yes to this amazing $14.95 Plexiderm trial. Order right now. We'll pay your shipping.
People that love the outdoors love St. Louis. Amazing hikes, amazing camping and outdoor adventures. And then we have tons of rivers. You can plan a whole day and go out on an excursion. But if you like outdoor stuff, we have it all.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. He asked all his therapists to help him undertake some of the house chores. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey.
Due to time constraints, we move ahead to later in the game.
Well, as we mentioned, the Tampa Bay Rays are coming up next, Brad. That's our Budweiser What's on Tap.
Well, it's going to be another lefty tomorrow. Jeffrey Springs against Sonny Gray, Taj Bradley, and then Eric Fetty, his Busch Stadium debut, and Shane Baz and Kyle Gibson in the finale.
Then we're off to Kansas City for a 2-game set, and Cincinnati after that. Jose Iglesias leads off. Andre Palante has set down 8 straight. In a 1-run game, it's sometimes true. One pitch is the difference in this game. An overcooked ball that Pajes couldn't block. A wild pitch scored Pete Alonso. Hardest working man in show business is Phil Nichols. He roams the lower bowl. Look at the shadows, creating an arch-like effect on the St. Louis infield. Phil has double duty. He gets to, maybe that's the wrong verb, or he has to work with Jim Hayes before the game with our manager's interviews and pregame stuff.
I think he gets hazard pay or no?
One ball, two strikes. That one on the ground is short. Mason Wynn to a knee. And he gets a fast runner for out number one.
If I may, I think Phil is a lot like me. We do it for the love of sport. I don't know about you, gentlemen. We do it for the love of sport. Forget this hazard pay nonsense.
So you do this for free?
For the love of sport.
And a paycheck?
But mostly the love of sport.
Understandably so. 9 up, 9 down for Palante. 9 ground outs for him. Here's McNeil. He bounced into a force play. We always like to put a face with the names we mention on TV. Smile, Phil. You're on candid camera. There he is. So that's Phil's shot from high above first base. Here at the lower bowl at Busch. One of these days, we should have Jim hold the camera and have Phil do the interviews with Ollie Marmol before the game.
I think it would go well. I think that I know Phil could do it. I don't know about Jim's camera work, but I think that he could do it. I bet that he's toted a camera at some point. I think that Ollie would like that change of pace.
One ball, one strike. With the bases empty, now time called for McNeil. If the Mets are going to make a run, they've got to get rolling on the road. They had a tough series against the Angels, but lead in St. Louis. They go to Colorado and Seattle next before they go back home. And fouled away. J.D. Martinez the other day talked about how difficult this is schedule-wise for the Mets. Yes, there is a lot of wear and tear. It's not an easy deal for any of the major league players to make a one-game pit stop and then fly back to the West Coast. Before you say Crimea River, what is good about this game is the Cardinals and Mets are in contention. This is a meaningful game that has to be made up.
Yeah, you got to play it, right? It's not ideal. And certainly a more difficult travel schedule for the Mets here than it is for the Cardinals. Cardinals got flexed to Sunday Night Baseball, so it was a late arrival for them. But it's part of the game. I mean, the schedule is what the schedule is. There are going to be some years where your travel is more difficult. And with the new balanced schedule, there's a lot of rainouts. And we've had a lot of rain this year.
Yeah.
Just overall, you just got to figure it out. You got to be tough and get through it.
One ball, two strikes. That stayed upstairs. 2-2 is your count. With the game finishing yesterday, believe it or not, here we are in the first week of August, and we're done with the Cubs for 2024.
Doesn't feel right.
Don't like that.
Yeah, I don't. For all the good things with the balanced schedule, I think that is that's a tough one.
So McNeil putting up a fight here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And New York still has hopes in their division. They're trying to catch the Phillies. Mets are 2 games behind the second place Braves. New York 8 games out. Full count. McNeil having a nice run since the All-Star break. 10 extra base hits. He scored 13 runs.
He has some obligation, not only in the sort of moral and spiritual sporting sense, which I think is not an irrelevant part of this conversation, but also in the business sense to grow the game. Because growing the game, even if that means MLS is taking some money out of its own pocket in the short term and maybe even sending some of that money indirectly and inadvertently, incidentally, I suppose, to USL or other non-MLS entities, it is ultimately growing the game and putting everyone in a better position over the long term. We've had this conversation, and I kind of take the opposite position, to be fair. Maybe I'm hypocritical on this. We've had this conversation in the context of the U.S. women's national team and how they have taken it upon themselves to grow the game globally, even though we all understand the growth of the game globally leads to greater competition for the U.S. women's national team and a tougher road to win, as we saw in the World Cup, as we hopefully will not see at these Olympics, but who knows, still 2 wins to get if they want that gold medal. And my position has been, I don't view it as the U.S. women's national team's responsibility to help Spain or England or let alone like Portugal or China get better at soccer.
Do you see the competition though now? Do you see how exciting the Olympics is? It's boring when the U.S. women's national team whips up on a team 13-0. I mean, it feels good for a hot second, but it is much more fun to say, wow, how are they going to attack maybe Spain? Or how are they going to, can they get through Germany again? They beat them pretty soundly, but can they get through them again? I personally like that much more. I think that that's better for the growth of the game overall. But I think to your point, so I was leading us in the direction on Leagues Cup being, I loved it, right, for the kids. I loved it for it was a perfect timing event too for City. It's getting ready to start Slice seasons. You don't know just yet, but one day if you have children that play soccer, Nate, you're going to know all about it.
You love to do this.
Because all of us are going to do that. We know that our life is attached to a pitch at some point in time. All the time. I was at Soccer Park recently and burning up on the turf for a 3v3 live tournament. And but knowing that and having them get together in a facility like that and get to see that and just to have a great time, right, of course. And it's hard to come by an MLS regular season. But to your point, I was looking at ticket prices, I think it was on Friday, just to see, a couple more kids decided we want to go. And I was like looking, I'm like, where are those lower price tickets? They were gone. So we waited until Sunday to purchase some of them.
That's
I'm
smart.
just saying, I'm sorry to admit that, but we did because, I got 4 of them.
Yeah, that's the move.
I'm not spending $75 for you guys a piece or whatever that was. So, But it was a fun time. I will say, I think the fans that were there did a great job. Kudos. I got to give props to Juarez because their little crowd of contingent were fun. I could hear them a little bit. They did a great job. Definitely miss the supporters groups, anxious to get back to an MLS game for that feel. I want the new players
not remotely
to say,
the same.
Like, more is coming. Just you wait.
We will have Dale Schilly coming up after this. George Gaines will be with us, as always, at the end of this hour to do Laws of the Game. We'll also hear from former U.S. women's national teamer Casey White in the second hour, talking about the Olympics and the women's team there, as well as Ty Keogh joining us at 9:30. All of that is still to come. Also, don't forget, next week we'll be back to our normal time on Thursday. Next week, Thursday, August the 15th. From 8 to 10. But we still got an hour 45 with you tonight. The St. Louis City Soccer Report just getting rolling on KMOX.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
You entrusted a nursing home with the care of a loved one, but they violated that trust. If your family member has been the victim of nursing home neglect, call Onder Law at 844-BED-SORE.
Hi, this is Johnny Rabbit. Isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? Midwest Money Company is buying your valuables. Midwest Money Company is buying gold, silver, coins, currency, diamonds, plus gold and silver jewelry. Call Midwest Money Company, 481-0770. That's 481-0770. Or stop by Midwest Money, 5900 Hampton for a free appraisal.
It's Tom Ackerman for Innsbruck. Just the beautiful homes at Innsbruck. The new Sonnenhaus houses are available this year. The newest style of living, combining the modern exterior of a treehouse with cozy interior elements of a cottage into one convenient convenient and comfortable residence that can transition from a vacation home to a permanent residence. And it's so close to St. Louis, just a half hour from Chesterfield, an hour from downtown. Innsbrook-resort.com.
Help if you want to sell your home as is. Help doesn't matter the condition it's in. Help if you want a simple sale with no agency fees. Claiming Group's got you covered, no contingency. House a mess, roof damage, bad taxes, that's all okay. Make sure you remember to call Claiming Real Estate.
Let us help you. ClaimingGroup.com. KLAMEN Group.com.
Your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. When it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Their certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers, and you can even schedule evening and weekend service. Just call 314-781-5200 and always look for the red ribbon. It's your assurance you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door, the most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. For same-day service, schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com. 314-781-5200.
For eligible individuals, 18 and older only. Results vary. See website for details and important safety information.
How are your hearing aids sounding now?
A little tinny.
Okay, 2 seconds.
With Jabra Enhanced Select's premium package, better hearing doesn't happen in a doctor's office. It happens at home, all done remotely from initial testing to adjustments.
How are they sounding now?
Fantastic. So much better. You get the same advanced hearing aid technology and professional support you expect from a clinic at a fraction of the cost. And if you have any issues, we'll make adjustments 7 days a week, no charge. Oh, you people are wonderful. Our premium package includes hearing aids, 3 years of follow-up care, plus a 3-year warranty with loss and damage coverage, and a 100-day money-back guarantee. I hear better than I ever thought possible. Save $300 on Enhanced Select 500 hearing aids automatically at checkout. Just go to jabraenhance.com/try. That's JABRA enhance.com/try. jabraenhance.com/try.
Rich Orris hosts the Kingdom OX Home Improvement Show, presented by Mosby Building Arts. Saturday at 11 on the Voice of St. Louis, Kingdom OX.
The St. Louis City Soccer Report continues on this Monday evening. Nate Gatter, Jen Seiss, joined now by Dale Schilly, as we always are. Dale, let's talk a little bit about Leagues Cup, and let's talk about the actual soccer on the field as opposed to the conversation of Leagues Cup in the broad scheme, unless you want to get into that, but I think you'd probably rather just talk about the soccer. I think it's been covered. City getting the 2-1 win over Dallas, much needed. It had been so long since we'd seen City come out on top in a game, and then playing not badly, at least last night, though they ultimately lost on penalties to finish second in the group. But we'll move on to face Portland on Friday night in the round of 32. From the 2 games in the group stage of the Leagues Cup, what are your impressions?
Well, I think first off, just the quality of the soccer is better. Just in terms of having players with some ideas, with more ideas, and you can, we can all speculate as to why or whatever. I would say just with the number of injuries the team had and having to put the players on the field that the 2 different coaches have had to put on the field, having outside backs play as wide attacking players and having to move guys into positions that they weren't familiar with. Now, when we get some reinforcements, we start to get some guys back. We get guys in from other clubs and get them in the transfer window. Now, at least we have some players that have some ideas going forward. We look more dangerous when we're in possession. It's just not possession for possession's sake. There's the opportunity to combine to get in. There's some movement we saw from Betcher and Cedric last night that looked coordinated. There's just a lot more opportunities, that that look more dangerous and look more like what I think all of us are looking to see in the front half of the field.
You know, Dale, you led to my next question because one of your three questions that we always do in the pregame, right? Kind of before we stop to get ready to go to opening kick, is your last one was talking about could Simon Betcher adapt to Edward Leuven, Cedric Toyshirt, and Marcel Hartle? And you could see points where it was almost there and not quite. Is that just going to be a matter of playing together more and timing so they can know that when this person's here, that's how they're going to want it? Just take time?
I would say the timing piece is really important because if you play with a guy that's an average player and you're a 9 and the ball's in possession and behind you, and you may have to make an early run just to be obvious and apparent as to where you're going and to get the attention of the player on the ball. When you're talking about guys like Leuven and Toyshirt and Hartle, these guys already have ideas of playing balls before you get the idea. So now for Betcher not to get into spaces too early, to maybe hold his run for just a second so that when he receives the ball, he's facing the goal and can get the goal rather than just holding it up, I think will be the next step for him. So yeah, I think, the coordination and the timing piece is going to be important. The other part that's going to be interesting is what does Klaus look like with that type of quality around him, and other guys are going to hold him accountable to their quality. Whereas before, he was the big man on campus. Now he's got some other guys around him that have similar qualities, if not more, and he's going to have to play to their standard as well. It's going to be an interesting situation. I think interesting in a good way.
Yeah, that's a really good point you bring up, Dale, because it is amazing compared to the conversations we were having even a month ago, let alone, 2-3 months ago. Yeah. City have gone from what was close, and I don't want to be, defamatory, but what was close to a bare cupboard up front in terms of MLS, especially higher end MLS talent, to now having almost an embarrassment of riches in terms of the number of guys they can put on the field going forward. And that does, to your point, kind of hold everybody to an even higher standard on the training pitch. It was really good to see Simon Betcher open his account last night. He looked really, really happy to be here, really happy to get that first goal. That was fun to see, and I imagine something that the fans respond really well to, sort of one of their own to some degree, not a through and through St. Louisan, but a Billiken makes him close enough coming home.
We'll claim him.
He certainly counts. Let's talk then about the back line. Obviously, I mean, from a cultural standpoint, in terms of how people perceive the team and probably the dynamic in the dressing room, it'd be difficult to imagine a bigger move than shipping Tim Parker out of town the way City did. He went along with $600,000 in general allocation money to New England Revolution for Walker Kessler, very good young center back who is similarly expensive but younger and under team control for longer. What's your take on that deal?
Yeah, look, that's a really. I'm sure when John was told that, and when I say told that, I'm sure that he was in on conversations and whatnot. But when that deal came to fruition, I'm sure John swallowed very deep and thought to himself, how am I going to keep this position without my leader and my captain and the guy that controls things in the locker room and helps keep things going in one direction. So, I mean, arguably for what he did for the team, Tim Parker was one of our top players. However, from a business side, Tim's age, he's getting up there. He's 31. Not that center backs don't last longer, but he's gonna add another year next year, and Kessler's younger and has similar qualities. And I think if we've learned something, there's opportunities to strike from a business perspective. Maybe this was the right opportunity. We'll have to see what happens with Kessler. It hurts that we don't get to see him during the League's Cup. Same with New England not having Tim Parker for them at League's Cup. It's been really good to be able to see him for a game or two or three or however long we can go in this environment before we get into that home stretch of games, which are so critical, to our placement in the final standings. But again, I think from a business perspective, I think you have to do it. I think it hurts the team in the immediate, but I think in the long run, Kessler's got a big upside.
You know, idea I was going to ask. We saw the captain's band on Edward Leuven last night. Simon, I almost said Simon Betcher. Roman Berkey is the captain. Wasn't present last night. Ben Lunt did a great job. I was wondering though what you thought of. Do you think Edward Leuven's going to step into the next role of being one of the leaders? I think City's a team where it's almost like anybody can lead at any given moment. We know Josh Jarrow has had those moments as well. But when it comes to formalities, might it be Edward Leuven?
Well, I think that one of the interesting things about soccer and being captain, I think hockey is similar, such an emotional sport, and there's so many things going on at one time. I think you have to want to be that guy, and I'm not sure if Leuven wants to be that guy. Maybe he does. Maybe he's grown into it. He's a great team person. We know that. We know what kind of quality of a man he is. How he cares about his teammates and whatnot, but I think that he wants to be able to perform. I don't think that he wants to be distracted from his own performance. So I think that's something that maybe he has to grow into, or maybe he has grown into it. I think we all think that from his personal qualities and from what we can see, his leadership qualities, certainly leadership by example, that others will follow, and he'll get immediate respect from his teammates, but he's got to want to do it.
Dale, we appreciate you as always. Thanks a lot, and we'll chat with you next Thursday.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Dale Schilly joining us on the St. Louis City Soccer Report. I should note it's Henry Kessler. Walker Kessler plays for the Utah Jazz.
You do too many sports.
If St. Louis City had acquired Walker Kessler, that would be quite surprising.
See, if one was dedicated to the beautiful game, such as myself.
Isn't that the truth?
Kidding.
Too many sports going on at
Hey, I
one
almost
time.
said Simon Betcher, and I meant Roman Berkey. I
At
don't know
least
where
they
that
play
came
for the
from.
same damn team. All right, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we will hear from Henry Kessler on his thoughts on joining St. Louis City. We're excited to have him. We know his name. We promise. We continue after this on KMOX.
News.
All the headlines that matter to me.
Weather.
If it's going to rain, I want to know.
Traffic.
Well, nobody wants to be late for work.
And who brings you that information every morning? This is Tom Ackerman.
I'm Megan Lynch. Hi, I'm Debbie Monterey.
I'm Roger Brand. It's Total Information AM with everything you need to know.
What's going on in the world?
Weather reports are so important to start the day.
Tell me where the traffic is so I can get to work on time.
Total Information AM. Mornings on KMOX.
Find out what's happening.
And always live on the free Odyssey app.
We're talking to Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center about why you, Dr. Bosler, love your field, audiology.
You know, what I hate is when people come and tell me that they avoid going to a dining hall at their place of residence because they don't want to have trouble hearing or ask people what. But what I love is when a patient tells me this, and then after wearing a pair of our hearing aids for a few weeks, they tell me that they no longer avoid those difficult settings. Helen Keller said it best, and I always say this, but blindness disconnects you from things, but hearing loss disconnects you from people. So at the Audiology Center, we try to care about you, and we want to reconnect you to your loved ones.
Well, thank you very much, Doctor. She's Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Make an appointment today, 636-441-7470 or online, audiologycenterstl.com.
A new study says 9 out of every 10 people leave money on the table when they file for Social Security benefits.
So if that's one of the things that you might have an interest in, let's sit down and talk about your questions, because I think that's the most important thing that it is out there. It's what questions do you have? I don't have a canned approach. I like to look at it, do a comprehensive retirement plan that fits you.
Join Steve All Saturday mornings at 10 right here on KMOX.
Whether you're looking to fill low spots in your lawn, backfill that new retaining wall, or mulch your trees and flower beds, St. Louis Composting has the compost, soil, or mulch you need to help your plants and garden look its very best. Visit our website, stlcompost.com, for more information.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Life can throw curveballs our way, just like the sudden car accident that put me in a coma 30 years ago, long before I became the Cardinal Cowboy. And just like recovering from bumps in the road, we all need reliable help when things go wrong. At Renner Garage, they understand unexpected setbacks. Whether it's a repair, a new door, or a LiftMaster opener, Renner has the team of trusted experts who know how to lift you up and get you back on track. You know the name, RENNER, forward and back. RennerDoorSTL.com. Giddy up.
Life is challenging and ever-changing. Take control with passive income through real estate investing. Learn how. Learn now. Let Del Walmsley and Lifestyles Unlimited's investors and mentors show you. Meet Del's team live in Kansas City. 2 days only at the Westin Crown Center, Saturday and Sunday, August 10th and 11th. Register now at DellHelpMeNow.com. That's DellHelpMeNow.com. Enter promo code DELL for a special discount offer. DellHelpMeNow.com. Code DELL.
Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. That's 314-752-5000. So if you need some extra cash, looking for that one-of-a-kind piece, make Jewels on Hampton your first stop. Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills.
Navien tankless water heaters, the proven leader in condensing technology. Request a Navien because you deserve the best in endless hot water delivery. Learn about Navien's condensing tankless water heaters and find a Navien contractor at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
For everything St. Louis Cardinals, it's Cardinals Conversations. Use the Odyssey app or hear it on your favorite podcast platform. From game analysis, player and management interviews, it's exclusive Cardinals content from KMOX Sports, where the Redbird talk never stops. The Y98 St. Louis City Soccer Report continues on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Nate Gatter, Jen Seiss back with you as we march on with the St. Louis City Soccer Report this evening, covering City's win and draw in Leagues Cup to send them through as the second-place team in their group. They will play Portland Timbers Friday night at City Park in the round of 32. We will visit with George Ganser on laws of the game coming up in our next segment, and we will discuss that game last night. We'll discuss penalties. I know Jen will want to talk about the staggered run-ups. I might want to discuss some of the behavior we saw from the Juarez goalkeeper. But before we get to any of that, we have a little short segment here, and we figured we could take this opportunity to introduce you a little bit to Henry Kessler, City's new high-profile acquisition, who is almost flying under the radar right now because
spicy.
All the headlines are about the new forwards because City fans have been pining for so long for let's get us some help in the final third. And Lutz said, okay, I'll go get you Toyshirt, I'll go get you Betcher, I'll go get you Hartle. And we're all very focused on them, and understandably, but Walker Kessler is a big name. He has a couple of caps for the U.S. men's national team under his belt. He is still only 26 years old. He just turned 26 in June, and he's a veteran of now close to 100 MLS appearances, 96 for the New England Revolution. And City paid a pretty penny to bring him in. $600,000 in general allocation money is already a hefty sum. On top of that, Tim Parker, even an aging, highly paid Tim Parker who's out of contract.
I just think we can't say aging when you talk about somebody in the 30s. That's just my personal opinion.
we'll say gradually slowing Tim Parker, who is highly paid and out of contract, heading to New England, still is worth something reasonable. And so this is a pretty big acquisition for City in its own right, even if it's not the area of the field that has gotten the most notice. So let's get to know him a little bit. He visited with reporters, was it today?
Yes.
And started understandably with something that I think is under-discussed in any sports context, which is, what's your life like when you get traded?
I'm still processing it. I found out Friday, 1:30, got on a flight at 5 on Saturday, and training now. Went to the game last night. So I'm still processing everything, but I've been really well received. Everyone's been really kind. So I'm looking forward to being here.
I mean, imagine you got a new job without applying for it. You were just assigned to a new job halfway across the country. You were informed and you were expected to show up to work within 24, 48 hours.
And he trained today.
Be ready to go, live out of a hotel indefinitely and figure it out.
He was all like just freshly off practice, sweaty as all heck from practice because it was hot today. And, hello, welcome to St. Louis. Here's your first press conference. How you like it?
So you can understand why it would have taken some time to process, and he might still be processing, and he might be processing all the way until the end of the season. Acclimation takes a little bit of time. It's part of the reason that City, during the City 2 year, brought in so many of the high-profile players the way they did to help them get accustomed to St. Louis. Speaking of that time, we also found out, at least reportedly, that Lutz Pfannenstiel had Kessler on his radar, and Lutz actually talked about it on Sports on a Sunday Morning yesterday here on KMOX, about having had Kessler on his radar all the way back in 2020 when he first took the City job, and Kessler having been one of those guys that he had his eye on for a while. Unfortunately, or fortunately for him, Kessler really bloomed in New England and became a difficult player to get your hands on. But Kessler had this to say about being on Lutz's radar.
It means a lot. It's a team that really believes in me. That's fantastic. I talked a lot with Lutz. He told me I'd been on his radar for a while, and he was really happy that he could get the deal done, and so was I.
Kessler brings a similarly aggressive style, shall we say, at least in his words, to what Tim Parker brought to the back line. This is what he said about how he plays.
Aggressive for sure. Yeah, really aggressive, but, not overly so where I don't want to get beaten behind, protecting the space behind me. Tenacious, I would say, is one of my characteristics, and a leader. So, those are all things I will bring to the table.
We mentioned also in our discussion that you're looking forward to getting back to MLS play and having the normal number of butts in the seats, or maybe just feet on the ground, since a lot of people don't sit down, so that some of the newer players, and Kessler now is the newest among them, get to experience a real City Park atmosphere. But certainly for players coming from other MLS teams, the reputation precedes it, and Kessler was excited about getting to play at City Park.
Great crowd, great stadium. So nice to be playing on grass. That's something that I don't take for granted. The pitch is beautiful. The facilities are too. Really warm welcome. Like I said, fans recognize me, taking photos with me. So I feel really, really happy to be here.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Right? That's a big deal. It's more of a big deal. So when you go back to the long time ago, since you call 30 people in the 30s old, I'm older. When we got turf, it was a big deal because it's like, you never have your game canceled, right? You can play, and it's really fast and it's fun. And then later you find out, that's not necessarily healthy to play on. So, it's interesting to watch the game in our country anyway, go back. Europe's probably like, we knew this all along, but go back to really appreciating having Josh McPherson and all the work that they do to keep those grounds good, and how important that is for the longevity of some of these players.
I think it'll be hard to overstate what a transition this will be for him, going from turf to grass, going from playing at a massive NFL stadium with very few fans in the stands to playing at a soccer-specific stadium that's going to be packed for at least MLS games, going from playing in a stadium that is a suburb 45 minutes drive outside Boston to playing in the middle of downtown West, going from a team that very few people care about to a team where fans are asking him for pictures because they recognize him on the street, even though he hasn't played. He hasn't even dressed for a City game yet, and he's been in town for all of 24, 48 hours. This is a dramatic shift in his life in almost every way. And I would imagine all of those things that I just said are reasons for excitement for him, even if it's a little overwhelming at the moment.
And even if he finds himself not quite on the same page when it comes to baseball, but he's now living in Cardinal Nation.
Downtown Manhattan. So, when people actually say, oh, you're from New York. Yeah, like the city. So, there were some New York things that I'm not willing to give up. I'm still a Yankees fan. I would love to go to a Cardinals game soon. They'll be my NL team, and I'll have my Yankees be the AL team. And I look forward to getting to know St. Louis. I've heard only good things.
Did you hear his nervous chuckle when he said it? He was like, oh, God.
It could be worse. Again, he's been playing in Boston, though. So if he stuck to the Yankees then, sticking to the Yankees here will be less unpopular than it was in New England.
There was a follow-up question that Tom Timmerman asked from the Post and just, said, hey, by the way, they're playing the Mets. And he was all for the Cardinals beating the Mets today.
There you go. Unfortunately, they did not beat the Mets.
Yeah, well, so.
In fact, they got pummeled by the Mets.
He
but
was rooting for the Cardinals.
It's the thought that counts, Henry. It's the thought that counts. And we look forward to seeing him out at Busch. We certainly look forward to seeing him out at City Park. Henry Kessler, City's newest addition, although there are a bevy of new names in City Red. We'll take a break. When we return, George Ganser joins us for Laws of the Game, wrapping up the first hour. Don't forget, we still have a couple more high-profile guests for you to come in the second hour because we have to talk a little bit of Olympic soccer. We'll do that, discussing the U.S. women's national team with Casey White. We'll also talk to Ty Keogh at the bottom of the second hour. All of that and more still to come on KMOX.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock, masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
What do Donna Vogt, Janet Williams, Susan Honor, and Jonathan Erst have in common? They're just some of the best fans in baseball and winners of a pair of tickets to an upcoming game and $100 to Rawlings. Want to get in on the winning? To get entered, head to KMOX.com/contest and upload a photo of you decked out in your game day attire. The best fans in baseball, presented by KMOX and Rawlings, the mark of a pro.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Onder Law, we deliver big judgments for the little guy. Onder Law takes on the biggest industries and holds them accountable. Call today for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
If you're a Quiver River Electric member, are you using the My Quiver app? You can view and pay your bill, view your payment history, sign up for alerts, plus much more. The My Quiver app lets you manage your account from your smartphone, tablet, or laptop. Learn more at quiver.com. Click on Member Resources, then select My Quiver app, or call us at 1-800-392-3709. A tip from Quiver River Electric Cooperative.
At 1-800-GOT-JUNK, we believe.
We believe in repurposing the junk we make disappear.
We donate the donatables so that a new family can love them.
Those items get a new life.
We believe in recycling the recyclables.
Raw material for brand new products.
And we believe in returning natural resources to the earth. And we believe in you.
We know you want to make a difference.
Let us help you do that.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
At Odyssey, we believe in casting a wide net to create a diverse and inclusive workforce, as we value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be directly notified of our open positions. Again, that's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for our listeners, we invite you to visit odysseyinc.com/careers. There, you'll find an online listing of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
Home values are sky high and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market is peaked, so if you're thinking about selling, it's time, except for two things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, or secure your retirement. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
I'm Dave Glover. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
The Y98 St. Louis City Soccer Report continues on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
The St. Louis City Soccer Report wrapping up the first hour. Nate Gatter, Jen Seiss with you. If you want to get your thoughts in the second hour, you can give us a call at 314-436-7900. That's 314-436-7900. Or you can tweet us at KMOX Sports. Johnny Camp, who is keeping us on the air this evening, is also keeping a watchful eye on all of those Twitter mentions. So if you have questions or comments, a Leagues Cup discussion, we could continue with that. If you want to make your thoughts heard on your support for the supporters groups or lack thereof, that is all available. But for now, it's time to take our annual pause at the end, or our regular pause at the end of the first hour.
Now, laws of the game.
Former MLS and FIFA assistant referee George Ganser is with us for Laws of the Game as we wrap up the opening hour. George, I know Jen wants to get at you about the staggered run-ups on penalties.
I don't like them.
So we will leave that for her. But I also want to discuss something that went on during penalties. And I want to be clear. This is always a good start. I want to be clear. This is not sour grapes. This is not because City ultimately lost the shootout. I wish they had won because it would have put me in a stronger position here when I'm making this argument. They really did not help me out. But what I'm going to say is I think the behavior of the Juarez goalkeeper last night was just totally beyond the pale. I understand goalkeepers do it. There's some gamesmanship involved in all penalties, especially when you get to a shootout, and a little jumping around, a little distractionary tactic here and there is well within the realm of normalcy for the sport. I think actively yelling directly at players, first of all, talking smack to them specifically and verbalizing things in the form of sentences as they were coming up to put the ball down, I think already was out of line. You know, in any sport, it's a referee's prerogative to step in and say that's enough of some kind of smack that's being talked back and forth between the teams. Then on top of that, as players were preparing to actually take the kick, he's just yelling and making noises that are meant to throw them off. Have you experienced that before? And do you know if there's any kind of specific direction from MLS or from FIFA or from any other laws organization that dictates one way or the other what referees should be doing here? Or would it all fall into some sort of like nebulous sportsmanship kind of category?
Yes, and no, right? So if you remember back on the World Cup in 2022, in December of 2022, Argentina went to penalties at the end. And Emi Martinez, as great as he is as a goalkeeper, was a bit of a clown show during that penalties, right? Yep. And so, but he won, right? And so a lot of these guys, they want to be like him because he's a winner and he won. Shortly thereafter, FIFA put into place, or the IFAB, the International Football Association Board, put into place some context around not doing that anymore and the referee's ability to shut it down. So what I'll say about last night, and I was there, I was off to the side of the goal where the kicks were being taken. He was out of line, right? And the referee went and shut it down after the first kick. Shut it down is a little bit relative. It didn't completely go away. But if you'll remember, Nate, that the referee went and talked to him after that very first kick, walked over to where the assistant referee and the goalkeeper stand, and he said something to him. It happened briefly again, but the referee then called out to the because if you remember, Nucky Thorson put his finger to his mouth, like, be quiet, right?
Yeah, I like that.
When that happened, the referee said something in his microphone or the comm system to the assistant referee who was managing the players at midfield that this was not going to happen again, or they would start getting yellow cards. And that was when it shut down.
But why not, George, shut that down before the kick is taken, right? So the damage was done on that kick.
Yeah, yes, but there's you can be preventative, and that's the idea, is to be preventative. But if you don't really know he's going to do it, and honestly, I mean, it could have been that the assistant referee, down judging whether or not the goalkeeper moved and the ball crossed the line, may have said something to the referee. It's like, hey, remember, they can't do this, right?
Right.
You wouldn't think that there's really a lot to manage on penalty kicks, or what used to be called kicks from the mark. It is extremely challenging with all of the things that can possibly happen. Very, very technical. that your mind is in really a lot of places, and you're expected to make it correct. It gets done correctly, and it gets done quickly. And so there's a lot going on there. So the teamwork, I thought, from the referees last night was really good, and they did ultimately shut it down.
I have the question about the run up is coming. So we have about 2 minutes. So I say the statement. Marcel Hartle waited, right? He waited for his moment. Makes me wonder if you go back in time, right? With I believe that it was Cedric Teuscher took the first kick. Does a player in that moment have a right to not take the kick and look at the referee and go, seriously, can you handle that right now?
Yeah, sure.
Just curious.
And then the referee can tell him to take the kick. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I was refereed by somebody like that. He's on the phone.
The referee also was very patient with Hartle last night, who waited a very long time, or it felt that way anyway.
Yeah, it did feel like a long time.
Yeah, and it didn't unfortunately fall his
and
way.
That's his own game back, right?
Right.
That's his own game back at the goalkeeper.
Okay, so
and within the laws.
About a minute left. So as you know, I've already talked to you about it before. I hate the rule about I like the days when we just stood there and you went and kicked. You placed your mind and you hit the kick, right? You either placed it or you had power or hopefully you had both. And now we've got this run up thing. And I go to Ben Lund. I thought I had a fantastic game. And I know I understood he came off the line, but how does a goalkeeper not come off the line when you're kind of stopping? Maybe you're in forward motion. Nobody really knows because everybody's stopping and jumping and doing, might as well just do cartwheels on the way to go take the kick anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, so the intention of the game is to score goals, right? So they're very hesitant to take away that stuff that happens. I don't like it either. In fact, last night I was, to be fair, I was watching Ben Lund more than I was the kicker. What happens is you can do all that stuff. You can do crazy stuff. You can start your run at midfield. I've never seen somebody score when they did that, by the way. But you cannot stop your motion and then restart or go backwards and restart. That's not possible. So last night was borderline at best, whether the kicker stopped his movement. I felt like he did, but I'm not standing down there, and there's a lot of leeway that gets given on that. And I did see as soon as the ball was saved by Lund, I said, we're coming back to this. He moved. It wasn't a lot. Maybe a half a foot, maybe, but he still moved off the line. And yeah, it's hard. You can't really manage it as a referee. They have the right to do that. The only thing you can do is stop it once they stop their movement. So, and you actually allow the kick and then you disallow the goal. So,
George, thanks a lot for your time.
A tough one. My pleasure, guys. Thanks.
The news is coming up next. Second hour of the St. Louis City Soccer Report right after this. Stay with us on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Our goal at NeoVitan is to make supporting your nutrition as easy as possible. That's why we created the NeoVitan monthly subscription. Just go to neovitan.com, choose your multivitamin, sign up, and we will do the rest. You'll receive your NeoVitan multivitamin every month with no long-term obligation. You can pause or cancel at any time, and shipping is free. Each NeoVitan multivitamin includes our physician-formulated proprietary blend for nutritional support you won't find anywhere else. Start supporting your nutrition the easy way with NeoVitan multivitamins. Sign up for a NeoVitan subscription today at neovitan.com.
We can get more sleep, we can get more sun, and we can get more exercise. But the one thing that we can't get more of is time. It's time to eliminate the one phrase that could be holding you back from reaching your retirement goals. I'll take care of it tomorrow. It's time to pick up the phone and make the call to Gary Goldberg and the team at Financial and Tax Strategies. 618-361-4232 or online at checkwithgary.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Centaurus Financial Inc., an SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Gary Goldberg, NPN number 918615.
Hey, it's Bo Matthews for Beast Plumbing. And when it comes to the quality of your water, it is so important, not just for the taste, but for when you wash your clothes or even your hair or your skin. And bad water can affect all of your appliances. Call them today at 314-500-LEAK. That's Beast Plumbing.
After suffering an injury, you may face many hard questions. What will tomorrow bring? Which firm should I choose to represent me and my family? At Morgan & Morgan, we will hold your hand every step of the way. From our one-click sign-up, mobile apps, and 24/7 availability, we make it easy to get your case started right from the comfort of your couch. All firms are not the same. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
There's Mike Kehoe's campaign bus that's owned by a Chinese lobbyist. Swampy Kehoe is hitching a ride after voting 4 times to sell Missouri farmland to China. Luckily, Trump-endorsed conservative Jay Ashcroft is tough on China. He led the charge to stop China from buying our farms. Call and thank Ashcroft for being China's worst enemy. 573-751-4936. Paid for by Stand for US PAC, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. StandForUS.com.
Philo's got a world of entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription. Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery, Lifetime, Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. And with up to 3 streams at once, you'll never have to fight about what to watch. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows, and save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR so you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC Plus. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black, and tons of blockbuster movies. There are no contracts, no commitments, and no hassles. For just $28 a month, Philo's a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's philo.tv.
The Bomarito Automotive Group 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. It's not just a race. It's a spectacle. Go to WWTRaceway.com now because the first deal is the best deal. Brought to you in part by the Illinois Office of Tourism and Discover Downstate, Illinois.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. 1 person has died in Georgia and 4 in Florida in what was Hurricane Debbie when it made landfall on Florida's Gulf Coast this morning and is now a tropical storm. CBS's Christian Benavides reports from Savannah.
Storm surge is expected to be the biggest threat in Florida, with 6 to 10 feet of inundation above ground level predicted in some coastal spots. Rescue boats were out in Sarasota, which has already received 10 to 12 inches of rain. Now a tropical storm, forecasters say Debbie is headed for coastal areas of Georgia and the Carolinas.
Michelle Owens is interim city manager of Tybee Island, Georgia.
What makes this storm different from what we understand is that this is a 1,000-year flood event. So this is highly unprecedented. We don't know what to expect.
The National Hurricane Center says some re-strengthening is possible on Wednesday and Thursday when Debbie moves off the southeastern U.S. Markets around the world tumbled, followed by a sell-off on U.S. markets, with the Dow falling more than 1,000 points. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
Many markets overseas also saw big losses. Japan's Nikkei index plunged 12%, its worst day since 1987.
I think there's a generalized concern.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger points to Friday's U.S. jobs report that showed hiring slowed more than expected. And there are signs Americans are spending less.
Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 index has just soared more than 10% a day after a near record 12.4% loss. Injuries are reported after an attack at Al Asad Air Base in Iraq, none critical. CBS's Olivia Gassis.
It is a troubling indication that the U.S. has not managed to stay out of direct engagement in this conflict, not just coming to Israel's defense, as we know U.S. officials have said that they will do, but to have to engage in counterstrikes now that its own interests may have been attacked.
The White House says that President Biden and Vice President Harris have been briefed on the attack. A judge rules against Google, saying it maintains a monopoly when it comes to online searches.
A federal judge says Google's ubiquitous search engine illegally exploits its prominence to crush rivals and put a lid on innovation. It's a major win for the Justice Department as it looks to strengthen high-tech industry competition, with Attorney General Merrick Garland saying no company is above the law. The ruling noted that in 2021, Google paid about $26 billion to Apple and other partners to make sure its search engine would be the default on internet browsers.
That's CBS's Matt Piper. A judge rules that the owners of the Return to Nature funeral home in Colorado Springs, who allegedly stored 190 decaying bodies, must pay $950 million to the victims' families.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 9:03, we have clear skies, 89 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Maria Kina. Our top story this hour.
Maybe talked about this race about maybe 6 months ago. You would have thought, oh, Ashcroft is going to take this away.
What GOP primary candidate for governor do Democrats want to win?
Is it Jay Ashcroft, Mike Kehoe, or Bill Eigel?
If I were a Democrat, I would probably be a little bit rooting for Eigel.
Steve Rogers, St. Louis University Associate Professor of Political Science.
You can kind of go back into like the times of like, say, Claire McCaskill versus Todd Aiken a little bit, in which Eigel is a more conservative Republican, but he may not be the taste of all Missourians.
Rogers says it will be an uphill battle, whoever Democrats decide to take on a GOP candidate for governor. No Democrats have won a statewide office since 2018 in Missouri. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker addressed the American Bar Association in Chicago today, emphasizing the importance of standing up for the law.
That's why I'm so deeply concerned about the increasing threats to the rule of law and to our democratic norms. An ever-shifting media landscape that regularly attacks our legal system.
Pritzker told the ABA disinformation and the reduction of civil rights and disrespect for equality under the law is at an all-time high, and that's why the legal profession's role has never been more important. Well, technology is having a big impact on the food that reaches our table. One organization in St. Louis is working to make sure our region is at the forefront of the innovation.
Some people, when you say farmer, they still think of a pitchfork, right? And that's just not the case.
Chad Zimmerman, agri-food director at BioSTL, says they've launched an ongoing ag innovation showcase.
The idea is really to take some of these high-impact innovators that are coming up with new ideas that are really exciting, but aren't quite ready for market, and get them in front of researchers, get them in front of farmers.
One example, a firm that's working on sequestering carbon in the soil. Zimmerman says initial research shows it could help the climate and be a boost to crops like corn. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Our forecast for tonight, it'll be warm and humid with lows of about 80 degrees in the city, a little bit cooler in the outlying areas. Tomorrow, sunshine, humid. A spot storm not out of the question. We'll see a high between 98 and 100 degrees. Incidentally, the record 104 set back in 1947. For tomorrow night, partly cloudy, a low of 68. And for Wednesday, it looks like the humidity starts to drop off, and we'll see highs of 82 degrees. Right now, it is 84 degrees in St. Peter's, 89 in Florissant, and downtown at the Arch, it's 89 degrees. I'm Maria Kina, KMOX News.
The Y98 St. Louis City Soccer Report continues on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Hour number 2 rolls on the St. Louis City Soccer Report. Jen Seiss here with Nate Gatter. And right off the top of the bat, we're going to switch gears from talking about St. Louis City soccer, and we're going to take it, we're going to go all the way across the Atlantic Ocean and talk about Olympic soccer. Currently, different phases happening in the game. Want to talk first about the U.S. women's national team. And to do that, we're going to bring on, Nate, a very special guest. Casey White played for the U.S. women's national team. Not only that, she was at the TST tournament that won $1 million with Michelle Akers and our own Lori Kolupny. And did you know she was Lori Kolupny's college roommate? Like, how much closer can we get to St. Louis soccer than that? If we don't get Lori Kolupny, if you get Casey White, right? Casey, welcome into the Soccer Report. Thanks for joining us. And first of all, how has it been watching the Olympics and watching what a ride so far the U.S. women's national team has had?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. And you're right, Lori Kolupny is the best, definite, great college roommate. So I got to put a plug in there for her. But it's been great. I absolutely have enjoyed watching the Olympics. Anytime we win, it's obviously wonderful, but I just love the style and the way which we're playing and the confidence with which we're scoring goals. So it's been a really exciting tournament so far.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so first of all, I have to ask, was Lori had any bad habits as a roommate? I had to ask off the top of she seems like a pretty straight lace. So Lori did not.
She's so easy. She's so easy. I wish I had something I could say to really embarrass her right now, but I honestly can't. Like, she's just such a good human being, and she probably could say more things about me, but don't let her do that next time.
That's right.
She's on,
That's
okay?
right. That's right. And so cool that you two were together at the TST tournament, right? And we've had Lori on the show, of course, talking about the team and seeing you're a fan of the game. I'm a fan of the game. And Emma Hayes comes in. She takes over the team, makes some immediate changes. Some of them were popular, some were not, but they sure do seem to be effective.
They really are. And I think that's what's been really nice about Emma Hayes is there's just been some fresh eyes on the team. And sometimes you have to make those hard decisions and they're never easy, but she's been able to do that. And what I've loved is that she's really gone with her instincts and what she thought was going to work in this Olympics. She's stuck by that group and they're doing extremely well. So she's being proven that she's making some great decisions along the way.
Casey, stylistically, from what you've seen so far in the Olympics, what stands out to you as most different in how this team is playing now compared to how they were playing in the latter stages of the Lockco era?
I think one of the main things that I've really been impressed with is her ability to have a system of play, but also to structure it around the personnel. What are their gifts? What are their strengths? And so for an example, in the World Cup, Trinity Rodman was playing a lot more pinched in, a lot more centrally, and she is a very good wide player who loves to operate in space. And Emma's done that for her, where Mallory Swanson has a little bit more of a free role to come inside, stay wide. Same with Sophia Smith. So there's a lot of different nuances in the game. Even Crystal Dunn playing a little higher than Emily Fox does, left back to right back. It shows that she's really looking at the qualities of the players and putting them in positions that are going to be successful.
United States, of course, having a really great game against Germany, solidly beating them in earlier phases. Come to find out, we're going to face them again tomorrow. The game looks to be at 11 a.m. U.S. taking on Germany. Is it going to be the same kind of game? Do you think they're going to switch up things tremendously on either side of the pitch, so to speak?
It's a tough one. Anytime you play a team twice, even in like a season in the club game, right, in the professional game, it's hard to beat a team twice, let alone in a matter of a week. So that's really difficult. I do expect, because we were able to score 4 goals against Germany, I would think that they may take a little bit of a play out of the playbook of a Japan to play a little bit deeper and look for the counterattack, especially if they decide to put Pop up top, where she's really good on the counterattack and with crosses. So I'd expect a little more conservative approach, because I think from the past game, hopefully they've seen that we can expose them. And I think that'll be a difficult challenge for us.
Yeah, what changes? I mean, I recognize maybe that you didn't go through it in this exact circumstance, but obviously you played a ton of soccer at basically every level someone can play it. You've coached it at pretty close to every level someone can coach it. What are the biggest challenges to playing a team twice in such a short span? Maybe even the challenges that are specific to having been the team that won by the lopsided margin and is going in knowing in the back of their minds, even if they're treating it like a new game, that they just won a game 4-1 and feel like they dominated this opponent.
Well, it seems a little bit counterintuitive to think that, they would not just go after it because it's the Olympics, right? But I think subconsciously you've already beaten this team. So you have to figure out from an emotional standpoint how to get the team ready that this game could be completely different. So you have to do everything you were doing before and maybe a little bit more to gain an advantage, because now they've already faced you and they get a new breath of fresh air. So from an emotional player management standpoint, I think that's really big. Also, I think it's letting your team know that there might be something different you're going to face. And so we're going to have to adjust. No game is the exact same in the soccer world, and soccer is not just. And so knowing that really is something that will have to prepare the team. And I'm sure Emma and her staff will do that.
It would be easy to really call out a number of players on the U.S. women's national team, but man, how about Trinity Rodman right now? It's not like we haven't known she's a fantastic soccer player, more than just a fantastic athlete, but really seems to be finding herself in this particular tournament.
She really has been. And I think what's been really nice about what Trinity Rodman does is that, honestly, against Japan, throughout the 90 plus minutes, she wasn't necessarily completely on technically, right? We had seen better games previously, but what I liked was her mental resilience to stay in the game. And she scored an insane goal. Like the goal was so nice. And so we have to give her credit there, because ultimately that's what it comes down to. It's just been really nice to watch her grow throughout the last few years. I actually coached her at the U16 national team level. So it's really cool to see like the kid that was 15, not that long ago, go out there and just play with a ton of joy and to come up in such a big moment, because there's so much pressure on her as still a very relatively young player.
Last thing for me, Casey, I think there are plenty of reasons to sing the praises of Emma Hayes, and I'm certainly happy to do so. But I don't know that people were necessarily presenting as a negative. Probably some people were. Others were just sort of asking questions about it in the proverbial sense. One of the major storylines to come out of the Japan game was, sure, the U.S. survived, but how weird was the way that Emma Hayes used or didn't use her bench until extra time. What's your take on that situation, if you even think it is a situation worth discussing?
Yeah, it is definitely worth discussing. I think most people would agree that to go 90 minutes without a sub is extremely rare. I mean, I don't remember ever seeing that.
Especially a national team that has
So-
the depth of talent that they have.
Correct. And I think there's one thing to go with your core and make sure that your units are clicking and they're going and there's confidence. But there's also a fatigue factor that has to be considered because of how quick these games come. But also, like you said, the depth on the bench. So definitely extremely rare. I expected to see Lynn Williams a lot earlier in the game because of what she can provide in the wide spaces. She did come in, but came in quite late. I also expected, I didn't necessarily expect to see Jaden Shaw because she had been injured, but I thought the game was calling for a Jaden Shaw. I thought she could have had a huge impact, but we won't know necessarily why. She wasn't even warming up really. So I think you've got to kind of be concerned about that, of like, how have they recovered to now go into this game? We hope there's no knock-on effect from that. But Emma Hayes is sitting there for a reason, and I'm sitting here for a reason. So I think she's probably got something up her sleeve, ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, and last but not least for me, assuming don't want to put the cart before the horse. Of course, they've got to play the game. They've got to get through Germany once again.
You're walking down a dangerous path.
I
here,
know,
Seiss.
but I'm looking at these. I see these two semifinals, right? And I'm looking on the other side, and I'm looking at Brazil and Spain, and I'm also saying stylistically, wow, that and just also some of the other things that are among the Spanish kinds of games and Portuguese games, fun to might see that. And I gotta say, I would have been really sad. Now, Marta deserved the red card for sure. Can't have a foot up like that. But man, that would have crushed my soul for that to have been her last game. Super glad that it might not be. And I look at those two. And Casey, do you have a pick of if the U.S. gets through, who would you want the team to face?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question.
Right?
I don't think either of them I want us to face, but I guess we have to do that if we win. But I do think just with the way that Spain plays, they would be the tougher matchup overall, right? But there's something to be said for Marta, if they win, coming back into the squad for that game, that from like an emotional standpoint, galvanizing the team. We all know Brazil is very capable of generating something special in moments. But I think we could definitely expose their back line. And have some opportunities going forward. But, when you get to a championship game, it's just that, like, kind of everything's off the table. Like, you just go after it, right? And so, either team I think will be an interesting matchup, but it's hard to knock the World Cup champions, reigning World Cup champions, because that's always going to be a really tough team to beat.
Absolutely. And purely informed, Spain is just really at the top of the proverbial game at this point in time, and the way they play and how they play together. Certainly journalistically, a fun game, a fun matchup to write about one way, and would be a fun matchup to write about in another way for sure.
100%.
Casey, thanks for joining us. Looking forward to talking with you more soon, and have fun watching the rest of the Olympics, which I hope stretches past tomorrow for the U.S. women's national team.
I hope so too. Thank you so much for having me on, you guys.
Thanks. Casey White, former U.S. women's national team player, coach. She was part of that amazing squad that won the TST tournament with Lori Kolupny, Michelle Akers, and more. So glad to get her on this show finally, and look forward to having her on more. More to come. Nate and I have a segment later coming up with Ty Keogh. We got to talk about the men's side of the game too, and we'll find something in the meantime to argue about in the middle. Stay tuned. More St. Louis City Soccer Report right here on KMOX.
For eligible individuals, 18 and older only. Results vary. See website for details and important safety information.
How are your hearing aids sounding now?
A little tinny.
Okay, 2 seconds.
With Jabra Enhanced Selects Premium Package, better hearing doesn't happen in a doctor's office. It happens at home, all done remotely from initial testing to adjustments.
How are they sounding now?
Fantastic. So much better. You get the same advanced hearing aid technology and professional support you expect from a clinic at a fraction of the cost. And if you have any issues, we'll make adjustments 7 days a week, no charge. Oh, you people are wonderful. Our premium package includes hearing aids, 3 years of follow-up care, plus a 3-year warranty with loss and damage coverage, and a 100-day money-back guarantee.
I hear better than I ever thought possible.
Save $300 on Enhanced Select 500 hearing aids automatically at checkout. Just go to jabraenhance.com/try. That's JABRA enhance.com/try. JabraEnhance.com/try.
When it comes to retirement, you don't need to worry or sweat the small stuff if you have Sachs Financial on your side. Sachs Financial, home of the Retirement Compensation Plan. SACHS, Sachs Financial, because income is the outcome that matters. RetireSafeSTL.com. It's August already. Summer is over. The kids are going back to school, but it might be a perfect time for you to call Chesterfield Fence and Deck and start planning ahead for next spring and summer. Or maybe you're thinking about ways to use your outdoor space more year-round. Well, Chesterfield Fence and Deck does a fantastic job with custom sunrooms and screen rooms so that you can really get a 3 or 4 season use and really enjoy fall and winter in your outdoor space. They also do a great job at Chesterfield Fence and Deck with fences and decks, patios, pergolas, and so much more. So whether you're looking to get a project done this year or planning ahead for next, they do free in-home design and free in-home estimates, or stop by and see Chesterfield Fence and Deck at their beautiful showroom and warehouse in the Chesterfield Valley. Mention me, Debbie Monterey, and they'll offer you 20% off your next project. It's Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. Visit them online now at chesterfieldfence.com.
Hi, this is Kevin Wheeler, and I want to tell you about the 213 Flashpoint Complex, which is available at one of my favorite places, Supplement Superstores. Now, this is a metabolism drink. You have one in the morning, one in the evening. It helps you optimize fat loss around the clock. Yeah, even while you're sleeping. So it'll fight and eliminate cravings. It gives you all-day focused energy with no crash. At night, it lowers cortisol levels. That'll aid in recovery and helps you get that restful night's sleep as well. 213 Flashpoint is available at Supplement Superstores. Find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Honesty, integrity, humility, purpose. We're looking for people that share these values. As an officer in the Springfield, Missouri Police Department, you'll train in a state-of-the-art facility, learn special skills, and most importantly, learn that being humble through it all builds a better community. Our next training academy starts soon. Work hard and dedicate yourself to the craft, and I promise you'll have some amazing opportunities. Visit gospd.com for more information. That's gospd.com. Brought to you by the Springfield, Missouri Police Department.
What better way to support your nutrition than with the multivitamin that was created right here in St. Louis? Neovitin Original Multivitamin was created by St. Louis physician Dr. Ribicki to support his own nutrition when he needed it most. Now, Neovitin Original Multivitamin is formulated with sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and Dr. Ribicki's proprietary blend to give you nutritional support you won't find anywhere else. Neovitin is now conveniently available through our no-obligation monthly subscription. Cancel or pause at any time, and shipping is free. Support your nutrition with a subscription to Neovitin at neovitin.com today.
Are you tired of those unwanted, stubborn areas of fat? Do you want to lose up to 2 inches of that fat quickly and safely? Hi, this is Dr. Michael Glickert at St. Louis Weight Loss Secret, and we offer the latest breakthrough treatment in fat reduction without surgery through our incredible Lumara body contouring program that gently melts fat naturally, eliminating it from your body. If you want to lose inches on your thighs, arms, waist, stomach, or back, take advantage of our limited time offer of just $69 for your first treatment, which is valued at $300. You heard that right. Just $69 for your first treatment. Visit us online at moweightloss.com.
Hey, this is Debbie Monterey, and I admit I was skeptical about body contouring at St. Louis Weight Loss Secret, but I figured, what do I have to lose except apparently inches, because they already helped me lose 40 pounds, and then they took before and after pictures while I was doing body contouring. I did 8 treatments, and you could totally see the difference. So take advantage of this limited time offer, just $69 for your first body contouring treatment, regularly $300, by calling 314-207-8600 or online at moweightloss.com.
At KMOX, our focus is you, your go-to station for local news that matters to St. Louis and the region. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Hour number 2, continuing on KMOX on the Soccer Report. Nate Gatter, Jen Seiss. We had just had on Casey White, who played for the U.S. Women's National Team. She's done what a lot of former players do. You get yourself into coaching. You start talking about the game at high levels, which I love. Did you like having her on?
She was fantastic.
Awesome, right?
She was fantastic. You can tell that the beginning of a broadcast career is there. And I think if she wants it, it will be there. Much more than the beginning of one will be there for her.
For sure. And I really liked her, just kind of honest takes on, I don't necessarily know why, Emma's doing what she's doing, assuming she's got a plan and yet to unfold. We talked,
but there are a couple million reasons to think that Emma probably has a plan that I don't know about.
I'm thinking she does, and is again, don't want to jinx anything, but when I look on the other side, another exciting game has to be Brazil and Spain. If you're those two countries, you're a fan of those women playing, that's got to be so much at stake there. And I will say, as much as I super admired the play of the Spanish team in the Women's World Cup, I mean, they just danced around teams. There's a little piece of me hope rooting for Brazil, a fan of Marta. She'll be done. And we needed, there are more of Martas in the game now, but she is truly one of a kind.
Yeah, it would be sad for her to go out this way. I would be pretty surprised if she doesn't. I think Brazil, I would make Brazil pretty heavy underdogs. I don't know what Vegas has at this point, but I'd be pretty surprised to see Brazil pull that one off. But I mean, she could still play a bronze medal game, regardless. So there will be one more game in a Brazil shirt for her. It just might not be for the gold medal.
Yeah, if I'm writing, we have Jeff Reuter on this show. We have Charles Boehm, and a number of the writers who could probably write splendidly about any matchup with the U.S. women's national team between those two. Certainly can look at, there needs to be an answer from the World Cup, right? You need to answer that. And I think they are. It would be great to see them answer the stylistic play of Spain. On the heartstring side, I would love to watch Marta appear in a final game for her country competing for gold. I don't want them to win, but I certainly would like to see her compete. She's done so much for the game, for girls everywhere, and especially I think in South America, in the Hispanic community. We know here in St. Louis on the youth side of the game, I can tell you personally that I know that it is still very underrepresented when it comes to girls of color playing in the game in our city. And they very, very much look towards women that look just like them and represent that and see that as inspiration for continuing their play.
So what I'm hearing from you is you don't want Marta's career to die just yet because you want to be the one to kill it.
I'm still U.S. I'm still let's go U.S. But yeah, I would love to see red lipstick Marta taking it on and having, honestly, pulling my daughters in and watching that and saying, see one of the greats. I can see her in a third place game. That's fine.
See,
but
there you go.
See one of the greats.
She's bronze medal game. Then you can really root for her.
See one of the greats. Really.
Or what if she ends up in the bronze medal game against the U.S. after all this, and we're like, well, now we got nothing of what we wanted.
That one's on you, buddy.
Yeah, that would be on me.
Just thought of that. But they just, it's like when we've had a recorded interview with Michelle Akers here, right? Players are probably arguably more skilled than we were back in the day. It's just a different kind of training, different kind of things that we have fought so long for to be available for girls and women. And there's still much more room to grow, of course. But when it comes to grit, when it comes to certain things that you had to just do to get it done, Ruth Harker's, Lori Kolupny's, Michelle Akers, Marta's, and more, you just don't see many like that anymore. And I hope that she gets celebrated the way she should be.
I hope so as well. We will take a quick break. When we return, we will talk a little bit about the U.S. men's national team and their performance, which had some good, had some bad in Paris at the Olympics, getting out of the group, but going nowhere near any further than that. Ty Keogh will visit with us next on takeaways from the U.S. men's performance in Paris. That's coming up on KMOX.
Hi, I'm Amy Mark Scores.
And I'm Chris Ranji. Look, we get it. The world seems insane right now. You're not alone.
Ranj and I are on different sides of the political spectrum, but we don't always talk politics anyway.
Yeah, we talk about what's going on in the world. We'll talk about the Cardinals and sports and TV and movies and whatever.
Life is more than politics. It's family and friends. And Chris and I were friends before this show. We're there for each other. We want to be here for you too.
It's the Chris and Amy Show, weekdays 10 to 1 on KMOX.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up! and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of consumer cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Want to keep your gas-powered engines running like new? Stable's proprietary formulas are proven by third-party testing to outperform the competition in keeping fuel fresh, preventing corrosion, and cleaning the entire fuel system. With Stable, you can have confidence you are doing the right thing for your engine's long-term health. Just pour into your gas can or fuel tank, then top off with fresh fuel. At every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable. Available where fuel additives are sold.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a truck accident, you need the best. Onder Law. Let us make your case our cause. Truck accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
The cookie cutter approach works well if you're making cookies, but not so well when you're trying to plan for retirement. If you want a customized income strategy, call Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group today. 636-230-8824 or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
I'm Brian Westbrook with Coalition Life. While we celebrate the reversal of Roe versus Wade, there is still much work to be done to support life and pregnant women before they cross state lines. Together, we can provide the love, support, and options that women need to choose life for their children. Coalition Life celebrates more than 3,500 clients served and thousands of lives saved since we began this mission with you. Each one is a miracle. Over the years, day in and day out, our team has walked alongside women facing the fear and challenges of an unexpected pregnancy. Through the support of this community, we have given them hope and a path to choose life for the children they carry. Visit coalitionlife.com to give your vital support while reducing or completely eliminating your state taxes through Missouri's 70% tax credit. Learn more at coalitionlife.com, coalitionlife.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
She posted about us just now.
Celebrities can't get enough of Be Honest bespoke skincare line.
She has 147 million followers. How do we monetize?
She needs a social media associate to help her with the hype.
We should repost this. Do we need a hashtag?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
For everything St. Louis Cardinals, it's Cardinals Conversations. Use the Odyssey app or hear it on your favorite podcast platform. From game analysis, player and management interviews, it's exclusive Cardinals content from KMOX Sports, where the Redbird talk never stops.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
The Y98 St. Louis City Soccer Report continues on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Ty Keogh joins us now on the St. Louis City Soccer Report into our final half hour of the evening to talk a little bit about the U.S. men's national team's performance at the Olympics. Before we really get into that, we should note for anyone who's not familiar just how different men's soccer and women's soccer are in the Olympics because of the age restrictions on the men's side. So we're not talking about the stereotypical U.S. men's national team that you might imagine if you watched the Copa or if you watched the World Cup a couple of years ago. You're getting a much different side. Did have a couple. You're allowed 3 players over who don't qualify under the U23 age limit. Walker Zimmerman was there. I'm trying to think who the other couple of overage players were. Anyway, so there are a couple of those guys whose names you would recognize, but generally this is a younger team playing against other younger teams. The Americans made it out of the group stage for the first time in a couple of decades, and they were unceremoniously dumped 4-0 by Morocco in the quarters. Ty, let's start big picture. Obviously, getting out of the group at the Olympics is a big deal for the U.S. At the same time, I'm sure it doesn't take away from the sting of losing 4-0 to Morocco in the quarterfinals. When you look holistically at this Olympics, what do you take away from it?
Well, the number one thing is we actually were there competing, because that's been a problem. In a few previous Olympics in the recent past, the United States has not managed to become one of the 16 finalists and compete at the Olympics. So we were there, and it's big to enter group play and be able to get the results necessary to move into the next stage. And and I think it is. You mentioned obviously the big contrast in terms of this being a younger group. Essentially, it's a U23 group, which makes it interesting, but it's kind of complicated because they throw in the 3 overage players, who have a lot of MLS experience and so forth. But it's a younger group. It's at least to not a large degree necessarily, but to some degree, it is a preview of some of the guys that will work their way into the full U.S. men's national team. So, you're kind of looking for those guys that show something extra and maybe prove something in this particular Olympic competition that they deserve to be moving into the full U.S. men's national team group, which includes any age. The Olympics being a U23 competition. But so you get into the group, you have to know how to manage that. You're going to play 3 games. You're going to play different styles. You look at, they play an African team, which it can be unpredictable in terms of what they'll bring, and they get a result against them. You play New Zealand, you get a result against them. You play the host country, you don't really expect to win necessarily. You lose 3-0 to France in the opening game. So, but you move into the next stage, and you're really hopeful that you can make an impact in the quarterfinal. But yeah, it just wasn't their day. Morocco is an excellent team. I don't know if you saw any of the Morocco-Spain game, but the pace of it was just ridiculous. It's just a tremendous soccer match, end to end, and it just both teams going right at it in terms of attacking soccer.
When you think about it, Ty, I would think back to you and I did a halftime interview for one of the city games when I think the Olympic team rosters were announced. And you had talked about how important it was for you to see, right, the teams get out of the initial stage. And they certainly did. They haven't done that, I think, since the Sydney 2000 games. Is that correct?
Yes.
2000.
Right, 24 years ago, right?
Now, given that the Olympic team is so young, right, and it isn't necessarily the full men's national team, is making that jump and being able to achieve that milestone this time around, is it something to build on for the next Olympics, or do things change too much?
No, it can be a springboard, not only to our next Olympic team that hopefully qualifies and gets into the thick of it and maybe can get past the quarterfinal and get into the medal round. But it can be a platform for the full U.S. men's national team. These guys having this experience of going to France and get involved in group play in an Olympic competition with the world's attention on you.
Yeah.
It's a whole new environment, and I think it's something that helps these young players mature in terms of being able to handle that kind of pressure, that kind of media attention, and the expectations that go along with competing on the world stage. So I think it is really important. not that every one of these players that participated on the U23 level in this Olympic competition are going to move right into the U.S. men's national team. That remains to be seen. But a few of them will, and it could make an impact overall to our program, and that these guys have had this experience, and they got out of group play, and they played a very tough Morocco team, who, by the way, beat Argentina in their group play as well. So, I mean, this is a Morocco team that's pretty strong. And you know how strong Morocco was in the more recent World Cup, where they surprised a lot of people at the World Cup level as well. My favorite player, Amrabat, for Morocco, he was outstanding. And I kind of took a shine to him because, he was a very creative midfielder, and in college, my nickname was Batman, so I'm Rabat.
There you go. And Morocco then turned around and got within a goal of Spain in the semis 2-1. So I don't mean to frame it as though losing to Morocco.
No, but it was. The scoreline looked terrible, 4-0. And it was just a little bit closer game than that, at least for the full first 60 minutes for sure. And then it kind of blew up in their faces. But guys like Hakimi, they're just a different level, and he took the bull by the horns and created that the second goal, and that broke the game wide open.
Yeah, I mean, even if that were the full U.S. men's national team, there are precious few, if any, players in the full U.S. men's national team who have the quality that Hakimi brings, and that's just how it is. It's one of the interesting things, Ty, and this is maybe getting a little bit away from the Olympic discussion. Why do you think, for as much talent and depth as the U.S. men's team has now, which is probably more than it's had that I can remember in not necessarily my lifetime per se, but my lifetime of following. So let's say the last couple decades, I think this is probably the most talented and most well-rounded and deepest U.S. men's national team pool that it's been for quite some time. But it's still missing those truly elite players, right? We thought Christian Pulisic might become that guy when he had the big money sale to Chelsea, and it seemed like he was on the edge of it. And I'm not saying he's not a great player, right? He's playing an important role for a massive club in a big league, and there are other guys who are in that position. But there's no true world class player in the U.S. side in the way that you might say a Hakimi type is. What do you think? Is that just circumstance? That's just luck? Or is there anything we can do to try to develop somebody of that caliber?
Well, there's some indefinable characteristics that take you to that full level of being, let's say, a world-class player. Pulisic is marginally, right in there. But yeah, we can't really point to, 2, 3, 4 players in our squad say they're world-class, like an Argentina can, or like a Spain can, or even Germany or England probably can. But we're not quite there. I mean, you're right. In terms of depth and European big-time league experience, we've got so much more of that just in the last 3-4 years than we've ever had. It's a very exciting time because you can see if these guys are able to milk that experience, and maybe a few of them will start to creep up into where they can be considered. We're using Hakimi as an example because he broke that game wide open, the 4-0 game. But you look at the clubs he's played for, and you're just like, well, wait a minute. These are elite clubs. We've got some guys playing at some elite clubs in Europe, and they're right there. They're on the cusp of it. But you can't point to a guy and say, no, he's a guy that's could play anywhere and could be an impact player on any world team in any of the top leagues in Europe. You can't do that yet. But you got to start somewhere. At least those guys are over there competing at that level.
Ty, I'm thinking about you talking about facing all those different styles of play. St. Louis City in MLS, in Leagues Cup play, actually just did that last night with FC Juarez. Saw a completely different kind of game that was being played, the players being forced to adjust to that and also adjust to each other as St. Louis City is having new players come on. So they're adjusting to themselves. They're adjusting to an opponent, a style that they've never really played against before. And here we have a lot of young, even though they're older, younger players still together as a group, maybe some of them not together as much before, heading over into an international competition. And they've really kind of seen the gamut of style. Did you also experience that when you were in the Olympics as well?
Well, of course, when you're going to step on the field against a Latin American team versus a Northern European team versus an African team and so forth. Yeah, you have to adjust. You're learning something each time that you get involved in that particular opponent, that style of play that you're going to confront. So it's invaluable, really, for our young players to be exposed to that. So, I'm kind of disappointed that in the Leagues Cup, City's going to play an MLS team, right, rather than another Mexican team, because I enjoy seeing the different approaches to the game. There are certainly our styles, and there are tactics, and there are strategies that vary depending on the cultures of the various teams and countries that play. And that's what's great about soccer. It's the world game, and there's different ways, there's different styles to play it. City has, always gone for the high pressure, and that is something that you generally don't see in Latin American teams. And you will see in terms of the Leagues Cup what works best, I guess.
Ty, just real quick before we let you go, obviously you had your Olympic experience that wasn't in the end in 80, but around that time and I don't want to make it seem like that was, eons ago or anything, but around that time when you guys were preparing with the national team to play an opponent that you hadn't seen recently or maybe ever, that was from a different region of the world, what did the preparation look like then relative to now, considering how little video there would have been, or at least how much less accessible it would have been compared to what's available to players now when they're prepping
He's
for a game?
calling us old, Ty. That's what he's doing.
I was very careful not to do that, in fact. I was very specific.
Well, we were pretty fortunate. The North American Soccer League was having more or less its heyday in the late 70s with the Cosmos and Pelé and the early 80s. So, we were playing against South American players. We were playing against European players that had come over and were playing in the NASL, the North American Soccer League. So it's not like it was something totally new to us. But you're right. In terms of having a lot of video, a lot of exposure, you saw World Cups, you saw the European Championships. Maybe you probably saw the Champions League games. So you knew what they were doing. It's not like it was a complete mystery. Like before there was satellite television and stuff like that. But the other thing we finally had in U.S. soccer was good enough sponsorship right around the time I was a young pro and involved with the Olympic program. They did have enough resources to get us together to train, before international competition, maybe for at least 8 or 10 days, because the guys that were in the generation right before us, I mean, even just 3-4 years before us, they met at the airport or they met at the stadium, they suited up and they played. So because there just was no budgets for bringing guys in early and actually doing a training camp and so forth. So no, we were lucky. We were on the cusp of something there. But I use as a for instance, I played on a team at Parc des Princes in Paris, the U.S. men's national team, and we lost to Michel Platini and France 3-0. So when the U.S. in the Olympics, 10 days ago lost 3-0 to France at Parc des Princes, I said, well, things haven't changed that much, right?
I suppose that's true.
Yeah. So, we were competitive, and it would have been good to go to the Olympics. I think it would have helped the development of the men's national team program here in the U.S., and the boycott obviously ruined that. But, we're in a different world. It's more than 40 years later, and we've got some guys playing in some big-time teams in Europe, and we can build on that. But the breakthrough has to come when we get 3, 4, 5 guys that have those special qualities that we've been talking about, and I don't know how to define them. You watch Morocco and Spain play. Every single one of those players, even at this level, the U23 level, they want the ball on every play. They're involved in making runs off the ball on every play. There's just a dynamism that the American player is just only starting to approach. They don't really show it to the same degree that you see in a match like that Morocco-Spain game that we just had.
Ty, I lied to you because I told you that was going to be my last question, and then I realized I have you here and I have to ask, because you're talking about a breakthrough and when that breakthrough is going to come. Well, obviously we all understand that the World Cup in 2026 on American soil is going to be a monumental point in our nation's soccer history, both in terms of what it could mean if we get a great performance and also how hurtful it could be if we get a really poor performance in the way that we did at the Copa. So let me put it to you. What do you think, as you're looking at it now and you're projecting a couple of years out, what do you think is kind of best case or the ceiling for the U.S. national team at the men at the 2026 World Cup? And what kind of coaching hire would you like to see made in order to get us there?
Well, it really comes down to talent, which is what we've been talking about mainly, and just the immense pressure that will be on the U.S. team to perform. And it's similar to, when both the U.S. and Mexico crashed out of Copa America, I was like, what's going on here? We're hosting, and people, and we got invited to a Copa America, which, Mexico and the U.S. don't always get invited. And you expect to make a bit of a splash, right? It didn't happen. And that's really frustrating. And it can be crushing in a lot of ways. So, yeah, we've got a couple years here to really get it done, but it's going to be right upon us, and the pressure is going to be immense. And I think that might be really where the coaching or just the entire staff will have its biggest effect on how to psychologically keep the players focused, keep the camp in the right direction in terms of dealing with all the distractions and the fact that it's such a huge worldwide tournament and there's so much pressure on a host nation. So that's going to be key. So you need a guy that maybe has coached internationally at a World Cup already and understands it. I was around the Brazilian team during the '94 World Cup when I was working for ESPN. And their manager took all of their phones from them. And this is when not that many people really had phones yet in '94. But, all the Brazilian professional players who were millionaires because they played in Barcelona and they played in Bayern Munich and so forth. The coach took their phones away because Brazil had not won a World Cup for 24 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't want them on the phone with their agents and sponsors and everything. He basically took their phones and says, you have one job here, and that is to win a World Cup for Brazil. And they did. So, it's a big undertaking in terms of keeping that many players focused when there's so much pressure on them. And that would be the key, I think, for any manager or technical director that you would name for the U.S. men's national team with an upcoming World Cup that we're hosting.
Well, there it is. Ty Keogh says no phones at the damn 2026 World Cup, and we're going to bring it home.
Every coach and parent is so happy you said that.
Exactly. So before we go, let's just congratulate Patrick Schulte,
yes.
St. Louis guy. Heck of a performance for the U.S. Olympic team. Really made us proud. And, hopefully he's a part of the World Cup team.
Oh, yeah. A lot more in front of him in his career, no matter what happens. He's got a decade and a half of really, really good soccer coming for him.
Yeah.
Ty, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we look forward to having you on again soon.
All right. Sounds great. Take care, guys.
Ty Keogh with us in the St. Louis City Soccer Report. We'll wrap up after this on KMOX.
When you face storms like we've had last night and again today, if you have Rhino Shield, you don't much have to worry about the side of your house. Number one, it's waterproof. So whatever rain hits it is going to just bounce off. You don't have to worry about that. When we had that hail recently, the homes with vinyl siding got crushed. I mean, holes punched in the side of it. And the ones with Rhino Shield, it pretty much just bounced off. And my friend Darren has the pictures to prove that. So you've got a product that's 8 to 10 times thicker than regular paint. It hardens like a ceramic shield. It protects whatever's on the outside of your home, and you get a 25-year warranty. 25 years. You don't have to worry about going outside in the heat and scraping and painting or paying somebody else to do it every 4 or 5 years. You're fixed. You're covered. You get that warranty. You can transfer it to the next owner as well. Call Darren today. Let him give you a free evaluation on this beautiful product on your home. 877-25-RHINO. Or online at 877-25rhino.com.
The pitch.
Do you dream about calling Cardinals games?
Goldschmidt swings and he hits.
If so, the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum is for you. Learn about play-by-play, reporting, interviewing, and working with pro athletes from the best broadcasters in the business. John Rooney, Chip Carey, Rick Horton, Brad Thompson, and more. The Sportscasters Forum is Thursday, September 19th at Live by Lowe's. Tickets include 3 educational sessions, lunch, and a ticket to that evening's Cardinals game. For details, go to MissouriBroadcasters.org.
Whether you're looking to fill low spots in your lawn, backfill that new retaining wall, or mulch your trees and flower beds, St. Louis Composting has the compost, soil, or mulch you need to help your plants and garden look its very best. Visit our website, stlcompost.com, for more information.
Tom Ackerman for Busey Bank. We proudly recognize the Lime Child and Family Center as a building community partner. The center provides high-quality early education and support for families, regardless of their financial situation or a child's development level. Busey is proud to support programs that address all areas of child development, with a special emphasis on the social-emotional skills necessary for future success. Learn more at limechildandfamily.org.
This is Pat Buring, Executive Vice President of Busey Bank. The Lime Child and Family Center has been building community in South County for close to 50 years. In that time, need led to growth. Licensed today for 121 children, the center also offers parents resources, referrals, and support so they can provide more stable homes. We at Busey know strong families mean strong communities. Join us. Get involved. Help your neighbors as we continue building the communities we call home.
If you have an IRS problem, getting accurate legal advice could help get this all behind you right now. Hi, I'm local attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm. The IRS made new changes that make it easier to settle your IRS debt for a reduced amount. Not all our clients qualify, but under the IRS's new Fresh Start program, you may be able to resolve your IRS problems quickly and for less money. But don't wait. An IRS problem is a legal problem. You need someone who understands both the IRS and the law. Don't trust your tax problems to some TV personality. The Drury Law Firm has handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years, and your first visit is completely free and confidential. And I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So if you're facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120, or go to Lance, DRURY law.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney, you need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-790-1400. 800-790-1400.
I'm Rachel Zimmerman. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
The Y98 St. Louis City Soccer Report continues on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
St. Louis City's Leagues Cup March continues on Friday evening against Portland Timbers here at City Park. Understandably, a little bit disappointing that they're playing an MLS team in the round of 32. Would have been fun to see a Mexican opponent. If they win that, they will almost certainly see a Mexican opponent. Club America is opposite them there, and almost certainly the team they play will be Atlas. So likely if City were to beat Portland on Friday night, they would play either Club America or Atlas, and you could hear City and Portland from City Park on Friday night. As always, on our sister station, Y98, Jen Seiss will be with there. Will be on the broadcast along with Joey.
I don't know what time it
Zanaboni-Adele.
is yet, though. I don't get the official time just yet. But looking at the games playing tonight, I know we got to go in a little bit, but you've got everything's being decided. Who's going through, who's not. Toluca is over Kansas City right now, 2-1. Leon just went up over Colorado, 1-0. Houston's beating Salt Lake 3-0. And FC Cincinnati came from a 2-0 deficit. And what'd you say? It was in 11 minutes, scored 4 goals, and they beat New York City 4-2.
That is all for us this evening. Don't forget Friday night, City and Portland in Leagues Cup round of 32. And next Thursday, we'll be back with you August the 15th from 8 to 10. For Jen Seiss, Nate Gatter, so long on KMOX.
Hi, this is Johnny Rabbit. Isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? Midwest Money Company is buying your valuables. Midwest Money Company is buying gold, silver, coins, currency, diamonds, plus gold and silver jewelry. Call Midwest Money Company, 481-0770. 4810770 or stop by Midwest Money, 5900 Hampton for a free appraisal.
Hi, this is Kevin Wheeler, and I want to tell you about the 213 Flashpoint Complex, which is available at one of my favorite places, Supplement Superstores. Now, this is a metabolism drink. You have one in the morning, one in the evening. It helps you optimize fat loss around the clock. Yeah, even while you're sleeping. So it'll fight and eliminate cravings. It gives you all-day focused energy with no crash. At night, it lowers cortisol levels. That'll aid in recovery and helps you get that restful night's sleep as well. 213 Flashpoint is available at Supplement Superstores. Find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
There's Mike Kehoe's campaign bus that's owned by a Chinese lobbyist. Swampy Kehoe is hitching a ride after voting 4 times to sell Missouri farmland to China. Luckily, Trump-endorsed conservative Jay Ashcroft is tough on China. He led the charge to stop China from buying our farms. Call and thank Ashcroft for being China's worst enemy. 573-751-4936. Paid for by Stand for US PAC. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. StandForUS.com.
Your air conditioning system has been getting a real workout this summer. If it needs a little help, you can count on Comfort Solutions Heating and Cooling. Comfort Solutions Heating and Cooling at 314-968-9900 with 24-hour service nights and weekends for any emergencies and repairs. They do give free estimates as well if you need a whole new system. Right now, they're offering no interest for 5 years on new Lennox air conditioners, and that comes with a 10-year parts and condenser warranty. 314-968-9900 or online at comfortsolutionsstl.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in an accident and would like to know the value of your case, it's easy. Go to forthepeople.com and go to verdicts and settlements to see cases just like yours. You may see numbers that are much higher than what your lawyer's telling you. You see, all lawyers are not the same. Some may only handle a few injury cases a year. This is all we do. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
At 1-800-GOT-JUNK, we believe.
We believe in repurposing the junk we make disappear.
We donate the donatables so that a new family can love them.
Those items get a new life.
We believe in recycling the recyclables.
Raw material for brand new products.
And we believe in returning natural resources to the earth. And we believe in you.
We know you want to make a difference.
Let us help you do that.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Jennifer